Hi guys, welcome to another video on my channel. Today I'm going to talk about my salary and expenses as a Finnish RN. I graduated in January 2014 with a BSN, so I have 4 years of RN experience. I was already working in healthcare during nursing school, but for the purposes of this video, I'll only take a look at my postgraduate years, and even then, only the full years with my current employer. With that being said, I've worked in a PCU for about 3.5 years now, and my standard rate is $18.80 per hour. Thus, my so-called basic monthly salary before taxes is $3,060 as a full-time employee working 38.75 hours per week. This really is the initial rate for an RN, and the rate will remain the same until you retire. The only raise that an RN will receive will be after working 15 years for the same employer, and the amount will be a couple of hundreds of dollars per year, I think. I get paid twice a month. The basic salary is transferred to my bank account the 15th of each month. This sum will vary anywhere from between $2,300 to $3,000 after taxes. The second payment is made at the end of the month, and it consists of overtime and increased rates. This amount can be anywhere from $0, like when I was on an extended medical leave after my surgery, to my personal record of $800. But because the increased rate is sometimes paid together with the basic salary, the total amount from the increased rate can rise up to about $1,000 a month. But it really depends on how many evenings, Saturdays, Sundays, nights and holidays you work. Now the rate is 50% for overtime, 15% for evenings from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., 40% for night hours from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., 20% for Saturday from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., and 100% for Sunday hours starting as early as 8 p.m. on Saturday evening and ending at midnight. National holidays, mostly Christian or pagan, follow the Sunday rule as they're deemed equal. And just to clarify, you can only get one of these increased rates at a time. So for example, working on a Sunday evening does not mean that you will get 15% plus 100%, you'll just get the 100% for Sunday hours. Here we use self-scheduling, but we have some rules and limits so that one person cannot work all weekends and all nights every week, essentially catching the worm and the money. But I'll talk about scheduling in another video because this will be a major change for me once I do get to move to the US. In these past 3 years, the increased rate has meant that I've earned up to $12,000 on top of my basic salary, and that $12,000 is 25% of my annual gross income. So you can see that's a pretty big carrot for us shift workers because these increased rates are actually paid for undesirable hours. Moving on to my annual income, I earn around $52,000 a year, but I get paid around $30,000 after taxes. The automatic tax calculation comes up with a 22% tax percentage for me, but I need to adjust it because that percentage only allows me to earn up to $49,900, and that's just a little short of what I make in a year. Exceeding that or any set amount for a certain tax percentage means that your tax percentage will jump up to 39%, like in my case. And that is so ridiculous if you think about what you will actually get paid in those last few months. So you really need to be careful and make sure that you adjust your tax percentage to your estimated annual income. Last year, I raised my tax percentage to a safe level, and I was able to get $1,500 back in tax returns. Of course, it means that I paid an average of $130 a month extra in taxes, but it really feels like a bonus when you get that money back in December, just in time for the holiday sales. And so with my tax percentage, I pay around $12,000 in taxes. I found this calculator on the National Broadcasting website, and with all the work I put in, my employer and I, please don't ask me why my employer pays some taxes for me. So it's 48.6% for Social Security, 12.7% for social health insurance, and 11.5% for education. I think these are the three most important factors, but you can see the rest on the screen. And I'm mentioning this because it'll be interesting to see the differences in taxation between Finland and the US. And as a person who's coming from a country with universal healthcare, I'm especially interested in seeing the differences in healthcare costs. It seems like I pay $4,300 in taxes to go toward my social health insurance. And I'm not sure if this amount will be more or less in the US. I guess we'll have to wait and see until I get to the US. So if you don't want to miss that, please subscribe to my channel. But moving on, besides just my taxes, I pay around 6% or $3,000 a year to go toward my pension. I've just learned that there are some differences between Finland and the US with regards to pension or 401k. Whereas in the US you can withdraw funds from your 401k if you encounter, say, a medical emergency, in Finland you have to wait until you retire, and even then you'll only get paid a fixed sum monthly. Also, if you die before your retirement or otherwise unexpectedly before you get to use all those funds from your pension, this money cannot be inherited unlike in the US. There's also a payment of 1% or $830 for unemployment. This will only cover a very short time of unemployment, so the government will step in with Social Security. And if you remember, 48.6% of my taxes go towards Social Security. So it's not like it's free money or some kind of shameful government assistance. It's what you earned and what you deserve. As an RN, the job market is pretty good. But overall, if you were to become unemployed, it's not as easy to get a job as in the US. So really there needs to be a coverage for unfortunate situations like these. Last but not least, the union membership, including a monthly magazine subscription, lawyer services, and unemployment assistance, for example, is $600 a year. Our union actually started industrial action earlier this year when our collective agreement was nearing its deadline. We were again demanding a more appropriate pay, but it really seems that that's a more long-term goal. Instead, we were able to get our own agreement separate from non-nursing fields, and this agreement seems to be a good stepping stone pathway to a better future in terms of salary. The last two things that I didn't mention yet are having this benefit of 30 days paid leave with up to $2,000 of vacation pay. After you worked 15 years with the same employer, you will be entitled to 38 vacation days, which is the maximum. But we also have this sort of banking system where you can convert your overtime into vacation days. So instead of getting paid for those overtime hours, it will be somehow converted to vacation days if that's more important to you. The last thing is that I made $1,700 in overtime last year. This $1,700 means that I only worked 60 hours overtime. It's just that every healthcare employer is trying to save a lot of money and they don't like people working overtime. They try to do different kind of arrangements to avoid that. So to summarize, looking at numbers from 2017, I got paid anywhere from $2,300 to $3,900 or $2,800 on an average, and my annual net income rose up to almost $35,000. So now that I've gone through my salary, I'll be moving on to my expenses. First of all, my rent for a one-bedroom apartment with 516 square feet is $950. This is actually a lower end rent in my area if you live in private housing. For water, I pay a fixed sum of $30 directly to my landlady together with the rent, so I pay a lump sum of $980 every month. Water is often billed by quantity, but my building does not have the meters to do that. If it were billed by the meter, I'd pay around $6 to $12 a month based on my earlier experience. Electricity bill comes every 2 months and I pay $50, so that makes $25 a month. Other essentials include my internet and cell phone plans. For my 4G LTE internet with 100 megabits per second, I pay $18 a month. For my virtually unlimited everything cell phone plan, I pay $30 a month. I've done some research into this, and unfortunately I'll have to pay so much more for these when I move to the US. But then again, when you think about it, Finland was the first country in the world with a fully automatic mobile network, the NMT. I mean, can you imagine 600,000 cell phones in the peak year of 1996? Oh, and remember Nokia 3300? The phone that's tougher than concrete. That's as Finnish as you can get. Hashtag sisu. My TV programming is paid through taxes. I get 15 quality channels, 2 of which are HD. I could always buy more channels, but I'm really satisfied with what I have, especially because there's on-demand service for free on the national broadcasting app that I have on my TV, but also the 2 major commercial networks offer some of their programming for free on their app and some of it for a small monthly fee. The next item on my list is something that causes me a lot of despair. My car insurance is $1,030 a year divided into 2 payments. My license fees, or the car and road tax, is $490 a year divided into 4 payments. My car is a 2004 Chrysler Sebring, so I suppose if I had a newer car, the payments could be lower. I've only had the mandatory minimal insurance, so in case of any damages, I'd have to pay out of pocket. I had planned this part of the video a bit differently, but just before making this video, I got the news. In my previous video, I mentioned how my car battery had drained completely. There is no sound whatsoever when I tried to start it. And today, just before starting this video, I learned that it'll be best if I give up my car and take it to the cemetery. The car is basically beyond repair, or it's not cost effective to fix whatever is wrong with it. I counted that the cost would be over $2,000, so that's why I decided to get rid of the car tomorrow. The mechanic will pay $300 to me and he'll get rid of it for me. I think that's an okay deal for a car that is not in a driving condition. I mean, how am I supposed to move the car myself when the engine and the battery is dead? I think I'd have to pay $300 just to have it towed. Now, if I can make it without a car during these months before I move to the US, I guess that in theory I could save $1,500 a year. In these past years, I've paid $120 for gas. I've never had to drive a lot, but gas is expensive here, starting at $1.75 per liter or $6.59 per gallon. And I've always bought the cheapest one, the 95, and it's still very expensive. But now I can take that off my list as well. Public transportation to get to work would be $67 a month. The schedules don't always work for me, but I'll see what I'll do now that my car will be gone. I'm just really waiting that the snow and ice melts away so that I can take my bike and go to work. It's about 15 minutes when pedaling really fast like I usually do. It's like a race every day for me. My gym membership with a little insurance is $26 per month. The gym is accessible 24/7 with my gym card, and my fingerprint. For the same price, I can go to the gym in Norway and Sweden as well. Netflix is $13 a month. Epidemic Sound for my YouTube videos is $16 a month. Extra iCloud storage is $1.20 a month. Now my biggest shame is this. My loan and credit card payments make a total of $920 a month. I'll soon be able to get rid of one of the credit cards, and that'll reduce the amount by around $100. After that, I will be left with 2 consumer loan accounts, which are joint accounts with my regular and savings account, and which have a total limit of $2,600. I'll also have 1 credit card with a $5,000 limit. I buy groceries worth $250 a month. I mostly eat chicken and salad, so I'm pretty sure that I'll soon turn into a green chicken. Anyway, I rarely eat out just to save money and just so that I can eat healthy food all the time. As you can see, my monthly expenses on an average are $2,400. Some payments I don't make on a monthly basis, so the amount will vary from month to month, just like my salary varies from month to month. But then again, I also work a part-time job as a writer, and I make $3,700 or $310 a month. I mean, I always have enough money and some extra to even travel and enjoy life, but now that I'll be immigrating to the US, hopefully later this year, I really need to prioritize and save money for the big move to come. Also, I do realize that I really need to be paying off my loan and credit cards because I need to be building credit history in the US with American credit cards. I really need to be careful because I don't want to accumulate too much loan and credit card payments, because if I'm not able to pay my loans or credits here, it's like I cannot take a loan or credit card in the US because I would exceed my monthly budget with all those payments. Now, I know that for the first few years in the US, my hourly rate will be $25, so that's $6 more than here in Finland. I'm wondering if in the US I'll only be paid the basic salary and of course for some overtime hours, because if I don't get so much of those increased rates that I explained in this video, I feel like my monthly or my annual salary will be about the same in the US as right now here in Finland. I'm also curious to learn about budgeting in the US because different things have a different price tag. I've learned about some of these differences through Alpha Slice channel, check it out here. And this has helped me to form a more realistic idea of how much money I need to reserve for X, Y, and Z. You're used to certain prices or price ranges, and then you move to another country and everything is different. But I think eventually it just takes some practice to get used to it. Let me know what you think of this video, and if you feel comfortable, please share your salary and expenses and what you think will be different in the US. I'm always curious to learn about these differences from people around the world, especially from my nursing colleagues. But I really hope that you liked this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye!